What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion for Boruto Chapter 73, and we need to discuss why there very well could be a major change coming to the series that will cause all the shipping wars that are taking place in the Boruto fandom right now to go up in utter smoke, because this chapter has opened a back door to something happening. While currently fans are torn between Boruto and Sarada, or Boruto and Sumire, or Boruto and Chocho, or Boruto and Mitsuki, or even Boruto and Namida. Okay, nobody really wants Boruto and Namida because I just want to see it for the utter chaos that this would cause. But while fans are at war over their favorite ships, we need to discuss the big femme fatale in the room, Ada, and the possibility that her interests end up shifting from Kawaki to Boruto. Now, before you grab the pitchforks and start coming for my head for even suggesting this, let's all take a deep breath and look at what we do know and discuss the question of, will Ada choose Boruto over Kawaki, and what will the narrative impact in this be? As I've said, from the moment we learned about Ada's motives and we saw more of her personality, she's a classic example of the Japanese trope, the cake woman or the Christmas cake woman, which is something that Masashi Kishimoto has used more than once in Naruto's manga with female characters, most famously Mei the 5th Mizukage in part 1 of the series. For those of you who might not have watched that video I have on this topic, I recommend doing so, since I go a lot more in depth in that video than I'm about to do here in a few seconds, because I don't want to repeat the exact same talking points. So essentially, the cake woman is a trope in Japanese culture where essentially the concept is that just as nobody wants a Christmas cake after December 25th, nobody wants a woman over the age of 25. Some of the signs of a cake woman are that she's extremely protective of her age, she's single, she's got a few quirks, or she's got conditions or circumstances that impede her romantic prospects, and she's unmarried despite being attractive and wanting a relationship. We've seen Ada check off a lot of those boxes, especially when you dig into Kishimoto's deranged kanji, where Ada has been at the center of a lot of doublespeak that doesn't show up in the English translation, because again, Japanese has 3 different alphabets, and Kishimoto purposely words things to where there's a hidden meaning, to where there's a hidden message in the writing depending on which alphabet you use for the words, which is fitting given that Naruto's theme is seeing past deception, or the hidden meaning behind the hidden meaning. And it's worth noting, Boruto's manga did not use this intentional writing style until Kishimoto took back over the writing from Ukiyo Kodachi. For more examples of how deranged kanji has been used in Naruto in the past, check out my Every Lava Release Jutsu, because I break down a lot of the deranged kanji around some of the lava release jutsu. Now, the reason why this is very important to establish is that the closer we've seen Ada get to Konoha, the hornier she's been getting, especially when you get into the deranged kanji, whether it be her comments or whether it be Amato's comments about Ada sleeping with Code. When you break down the deranged kanji, when he's telling Code that Ada, she keeps cohabitating with Code, she's gonna lower the success rate that she's gonna have of actually winning over Kawaki. Essentially, the closer she's gotten to Konoha, the more this stuff is ramped up. The woman was practically gushing over the prospect of not only meeting Kawaki in the last chapter, but when she learned that she'd be living in the same house as him, she got so hot and bothered that Ikimoto had her squeeze her legs together, had her heart beating so loud that Damon could hear it through her chest, and then had her blushing so fiercely that she said that she was gonna fatally fall in love at that very moment. Now, on the surface level, it becomes very clear Kawaki holds a lot of power over Ada right now. She's the one who wants a relationship with Kawaki, and it's gonna be up to him if he's gonna be friendly with her, or even if he falls in love with her, or if he rejects her. However, what I've said all along is that part of me believes Ada has another reason for wanting Kawaki, because she had her pick between Boruto and Kawaki, but she still chose Kawaki, which is why I think she saw something in his past that made him pique her interest outside of just Kawaki kill Ishiki. Both Boruto and Kawaki have Otsutsuki genetics, and they're resistant to Ada's enchantment and control powers, but she chose Kawaki, and now that moment is finally here for her to meet the 2 people who are immune to her control. However, there's one major issue here. Kawaki isn't a people person. He's quick to call people out their name, he's quick to be rude to them, While it's possible that Kishimoto uses this for dirty humor to have Ada turned on by it, it's also possible that we see the other part of what Shikamaru stated, that Boruto is going to be there to mediate in case things go wrong, but also that adjustments are going to have to be made during the mission. Could one of those adjustments be Kawaki blows things up so badly with Ada that Boruto has to step in to try and win over? I don't think it's the craziest thing. First, Boruto is more of a people person, and while he does have the issue of Momoshiki, which granted, that is a huge, giant issue, don't get me wrong, Boruto would still be better suited to speak with Ada. There's also the Daemon factor. I think that is very important. While Kawaki might not understand some of Daemon's likely outbursts and his overprotective nature of his sister due to not having that sibling bond himself, Boruto is going to be able to better navigate the hot-headed nature of Daemon and understand his desire to protect his sister. He's likely even going to bring up his own sister Himawari, and I think that Ada is going to be very likely to hear this. Now, the reason why this is so important is that Ada has already been shown gushing over Boruto once before, to the point where she covered up her face for what appeared to be a nosebleed, though given Ikimoto's self-admitted struggles with drawing comedy, it's not the easiest thing to tell, but it looked pretty consistent with how the gag has been used before in other manga pertaining to women. Different artists have different ways of conveying it, but the covering up of the nose in a scene like that's very consistent with it. Now, Ada is very likely to make the same observation of Boruto that Sarada did during the Boruto movie novel, which is that when Boruto speaks about his sister Himawari, his whole expression changes, his demeanor becomes warmer. It was noticeable enough that Sarada was written thinking to herself that she wanted to see more of that side of Boruto Uzumaki, and it moved something inside of Sarada when she saw that side of Boruto, which for reference, the Boruto movie novel was written by Ukyo Kodachi, who also co-wrote the Boruto movie alongside Kishimoto. If Ada makes that observation, I think we see a very similar reaction from Ada, and I think we see her behave in the same manner that she did when she got turned on by how protective Boruto was of Kawaki during the battle against Code. Invoking such a strong response from Ada, it doesn't seem impossible to imagine. In fact, it seems very likely. When you add in Ada's short attention span, if Kawaki does end up breaking her heart due to the buildup that she has of him in her head of what she believes Kawaki will be for her, i.e. a knight in shining armor who will rescue her from the castle that is her inability to find love due to the ninja tech that Amato planted inside of her body, it's possible that her attention shifts over to Boruto. Now, in no way am I saying Boruto falls in love with Ada. You guys know where I stand on ships. While I don't personally care for shipping wars, I've done videos on the major ships except for Boruto and Sumire because I'm still scripting that video, and I still think that Borusaru fans are going to end up like Narusaku fans when Sumire eventually gets that Uzumaki ramen noodle doodle that she's been chasing over the last couple of years in universe. Though I do think for the sake of this mission, Boruto could opt to entertain Ada so as to make sure they appease her long enough to track down Code. In fact, it'd be very ironic that Boruto, a shinobi, has to utilize some of the tactics that Kunoichi have to use at times, which is the art of seduction and the art of manipulation, which in of itself would be very hilarious if it's done right. And if we get to see some of Boruto's internal monologues in the manga, and we get to see for ourselves how much Boruto hates this idea, similar to how Ikimoto drew Boruto when he realized the mission was going to be what it actually is. While the humor in that panel did fall flat because the expression itself was not well done, if things do go this route, Ikimoto will have to step that part up. I get it, the man struggles drawing comedy, but between the cake woman trope and some of the Sukenboku humor that we've seen gradually slipped into the story, and the sarcastic humor that we've seen slowly sprinkled into the story since Kishimoto took over as writer, the art is going to have to land the punches in order to carry some of these scenes home. And to his credit, he made improvements like he did in Boruto chapter 69, so it's not impossible for Ikimoto or his assistants to get that done. Narratively, if Ada does end up falling for Boruto, it gives Code another reason to want to try to capture Boruto and feed him to the Ten Tails. He was always going to want to do so, but if Ada's heart sways over Boruto, it's a solid way for him to get back at Ada for breaking his own heart. Code was never going to feed Kawaki to the Ten Tails unless Kawaki somehow managed to kill Boruto and Momoshiki didn't actually revive him. even after Ada and Damon turned on him, he was never going to feed Kawaki to the Ten Tails due to Ada's threat to kill him and Ko's own desires to make Kawaki suffer before he kills him. However, ripping Ada's heart out by feeding Boruto, if she does fall for Boruto, that would be the craziest route for Ko to try taking. It lets him strike two birds at the same time. If you want to go the route of Ada somehow being the wedge that's driven between Boruto and Kawaki, this also gives you the chance to do so, but it only truly works if you write Ada as being the only character who has extensive knowledge about Kawaki's past and is able to win him over. And it only truly works if you do what I've been saying for a while now, which is that if Ada goes the route of Makima from Chainsaw Man, because there are a lot of parallels between their characters. If you've read Chainsaw Man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are a lot of parallels from the powers to the motives to the manipulative nature. There's enough there to where you could remake that very iconic scene where Makima does what she does in the Chainsaw manga. And the groundwork is there for it. And I'm going to show you how very quickly. Naruto can relate to being hunted. Boruto can relate to having the karma. But Ada can see things that the other two won't know unless Kawaki shares those details. The abusive father, the child trafficker, being experimented on by Amato, and being able to relate to it. Ada has knowledge, Ada has observations on Kawaki, Ada is calculated and smart enough to be able to use all that information to get what she actually wants. And it could come at the expense of somebody else in the universe. That's the only way this works, is if you use her to try and drive that split between Kawaki and the Uzumaki family, because she's the only thing realistically you could use to do that. But she need more of a motivation to do so because she knows how precious Naruto is to Kawaki, unless she views Kawaki's affection for Naruto as being something of a problem that needs to be removed. I joke once Ada does those double monkey barrel backflips on Kawaki, the boy isn't going to know how to act at all, but this is a route that it could take. That being said, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Ada's going to turn her attention to Boruto? While you think that over, click here to watch my Chainsaw Man chapter 105 review and click here to watch my Naruto Explained video.